Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Today, let me show you how to align things perfectly using tabs in Pages. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So here's a technique that's been around since the very beginning of word processors. But still, a lot of people don't know about it. Say you're in Pages and you want to have a simple list of things and you want to line things up. Like for instance here I may want to have an event, have it shown like this here, and then on the next line I may want to also have it around the same point. And I'll continue to add events for each day this week. So this kind of works, but notice that these things aren't perfectly lined up. The reason for that is each letter is a different width. So when you get to the end of these days you're at a different spot here, and just adding a bunch of spaces you're not going to be able to perfectly line things up. Things are always going to be a little off. So the way to properly do this is to use tabs. Now at first tabs don't seem to be a great solution. I'm going to select all the spaces here and delete them and then hit the tab key. And you can see how it tabs out to a certain point. Let's do the same thing here. And you can see now these line up, but they're a little too close. What's worse is that if I do it here it's going to line up to a different point. Same point for this one, and then this one will go back to the original. What's happening here is we haven't set tab stops, the points at which the tabs go to. So it's just using some default ones, which are every ½ inch. In order to set tab stops we want to go to View and then Show Ruler. And the ruler up here allows us to set the points for the tabs. The first thing you need to do though is you need to select all of the lines for which this is going to affect, because tab stops can vary from line to line. So now that we've selected all those lines we can drag a tab stop, and you can see as I go past the default tabs these all line up. So I could set this at something like, let's say 3.5 right there, and you can see now they all perfectly line up. So the very first tab on any of these is here, and from that point on it goes to the default, which is every ½ inch. You can see as I tab out. So this is the simplest way to get these things to line up perfectly. Now the tabs actually can do various things. Let's select all the lines again, and I can double click on this and it will change to a center tab. So the centers of all of these are lined up. I can do a right tab so all of the right sides of these line up, which may actually work in this type of thing. And then you could double click again, and this is a decimal tab. So the decimal point will line up, and this works if you have numbers there and you want the dot and 00 or dot 50 all to line up no matter what characters are after it. We'll leave it at the left tab for this case. Now you can actually get more control of these tabs by going in Format to Layout. And then here you'll see Tabs. And you'll see a listing of each tab. So in this case it's 2.5 inches in from the left. Since the left starts at 1 inch, that's where this is. And we can see the alignment is left, or one of those other things I talked about. You could also set a leader. What a leader is a character that fills the gap. So let's select periods for instance, and you can see how we get those periods. And notice that the periods line up perfectly with each other. You can actually format the periods separate. These periods are actually part of a single character in the document, just the tab. So this is the tab now. Instead of just being a big space, it's a space filled with periods. So if I double click any of these to select it, I could actually do something like, for instance, set the text color for those. Now when you're at the end of a line and you go to the next line it's going to keep the same tabs for the next line. So notice I've got this here, and if I do return, 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 you can see all the new paragraphs or lines that I'm creating have that tab stop. So another common thing that you need to do is to be able to line up blanks. For instance, let's say you have name, colon, and maybe what you would normally do is do a space and then the underscore character a bunch of times to create the name field. And then something else, and the same thing here, and you try to line up the end. And you notice you can't really line up the ends here. It's jagged there as well. If I remove this one it's too short, add one it's too long. And you could use tab stops to fix this as well. Let's get rid of all of these underscore characters and instead use tabs. So what I want to do here is set tab stops for both the beginning and the end of the blanks. So I'll have the blank start right there and I'll click here to add another one and have it end right here. So the blanks will stretch from this to this. Now there's nothing there right now. I could add 2 tabs for each one. You can see how it actually picks up those periods that we had before. Let's select all of these, go back to layout, and then we could see we have 2 tab stops now and they're both aligned left, and then we have a leader for the first one. Let's get rid of that and set it to none. And then set the leader for the second one to blanks. And now you can see how you've got these perfectly lined up blanks here, starting at the exact same point and ending at the exact same point because they're just between these 2 tab stops. And now I can adjust them a little bit. And now you get a very professional looking form instead of the jagged blanks that start and end kind of at random little spots. So you could also use tables for doing a lot of this. And tables work really well if there are a lot of columns and a lot of data involved. But for simple little lists or forms like this, tab stops work great to get everything lined up nice and precisely. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.